What's up? I woke up, I don't know, maybe like an hour ago. I usually sleep with the fan on, and this morning I turned the fan off, and I just hear raindrops outside my window. What a very peaceful way to wake up. And while it is very peaceful, I think my body has this habit of waking up feeling stressed, at least where it is that I'm at right now in my life, because I feel that I have so many questions that I don't have the answers to. And not just that, but I understand the power of asking the right questions. And I don't think I'm asking the right questions. Today's my first day on the job working at Chili's. And that's weird for me to think of in terms of working at Chili's. My plan as of right now is work at Chili's, write my second book, and then that's it. I don't know where to go from there. I have my favorite, well, I don't know if it's necessarily my favorite book, but it is a book that has made a massive impact on my life. The Creative Act by Rubin. Let's see. My desk here is very messy. There we go. Let's get some zoom in action here. There we go. What's better, huh? Let's get all. We're well acquainted. We could. There we go. I want to read a passage to you from this book. It's on success. And by the way, this book is all about um, what it means to live as an artist. This book, I read this book last year in January. This is like my third time reading it. And each time I get something completely different. And sometimes I'll skip ahead to certain passages that I want to read that I feel like are applicable to me. So here's the section that Rick wrote on success. How shall we measure success? It isn't popularity, money, or critical esteem. Success occurs in the privacy of the soul. It comes in the moment you decide to release the work before exposure to a single opinion. When you've done all you can to bring out the work's greatest potential. When you're pleased and ready to let go. Success has nothing to do with variables outside yourself. To move forward is an aspect of success. This happens when we finish a work, share it, and begin a new project. Whatever comes after this quiet feeling of accomplishment is subject to market conditions, conditions beyond us. Our calling is to make beautiful works to the best of our ability. Sometimes they will be applauded or rewarded, sometimes not. If we second guess our inner knowing to attempt to predict what others may like, our best work will never appear. Popular success is a poor barometer of work and worth. In order for a work to connect commercially, stars must align and none of them relate to how good the project is. It might be the timing, the distribution mechanism, the mood of the culture, or a connection to current events. If a global catastrophe happens on the same day a project comes out, the project might be overshadowed. If you made a stylistic change, your fans may not initially be receptive to it. If a highly anticipated work by another artist is released on the same day, your project may not land with the same impact. Most variables are completely out of our control. The only ones we can control are doing our best work, sharing it, starting the next, and not looking back. I'll start off with what I appreciate about this passage, and then I will share where it is where I am right now and how I relate and how I'm dealing with this passage right now. What I appreciate about this is it puts the focus on the process. It puts the focus on things that we can control. It makes the reward more immediate and the win more private. I do like that. Where I struggle with this passage is I suppose I want my creative works to help me become financially successful. I want my creative works to open opportunities for me. I'm tired of not having much money. I'm tired of working jobs that I'm forced to work because I don't have any other option for money. On the other hand, I do like posting on YouTube because it makes me feel great. The act of posting makes me feel good. The process of putting a video together and uploading it makes me feel great. And at the same time, I would like for there to be a financial payoff. So I don't have to worry about finances. I want to be able to have the freedom to go travel as I would like to. My closest friends live all around the world. I have friends in Australia, in different parts of Europe, in Dubai, and friends in different parts of America as well. And I can't even afford to see my friends. I can't afford to do what I want and live how I want. I want to go to Puerto Rico for a month or several months. I want to be immersed in nature. I want to be with my friends and collaborating and talking and laughing and creating adventures together. And I know that I know that gratitude is the antidote, but man, I I'm dissatisfied. I want more. I'm grateful I'm here with my family. I love my family. But I also want a lot more out of life. I have some of my best thoughts while I'm still asleep. And the thought that came to mind today is get off of Instagram again. Because I'm not really producing much on Instagram anyway. And I figured, you know what, let's just go all in on YouTube. And I think where I've seen a decline in my mental health has come from being on social media again. So I uninstalled Instagram off my phone. And things change. I may or may not install it again. I don't know. But I'm trying to think what I went to go to Tony Robbins's business mastery a couple months ago, and Tony said something that I think about in times like this. He said, "The right question is the answer." If you ask yourself the right question, you will get the answer you're looking for. And if we get into the habit of asking better questions, we can find better answers. So, asking questions isn't necessarily, I feel. I've met people who are really great at asking the right questions. I don't feel that I am as great as them as asking the right questions. But I will tell you what, when I went to Genius Network in 2022, when I asked Joe Polish and Marie Forleo, basically for career advice, one of the books that Joe Polish had recommended that, not that I read, but a book that has a bunch of questions to answer, to gain clarity from. And I'll be honest, I haven't done that exercise. I haven't written down the answers to the questions. But it's from this book right here. The Road Less Stupid by Keith Cunningham. Fun fact about the author, this man is the rich dad from Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I'm going to go to the library today and answer some questions. I have an appointment for, I have my first appointment for my vasectomy today. It's a consultation. And then afterwards, I'm going to go to the library and do some writing, upload YouTube video, maybe upload YouTube videos, plural, and take the time to answer some questions. I also have a friend that I met recently. I met him last week, and he's the author of 3 books. He owns his own dispensary. He has an app, and he is a writer who's been signed to 2 big picture deals. So I also have the idea in terms of like reaching out to him. He loves me, and we text. He's dope. He's funny as shit. Reaching out to him and just asking him, like, if I want to start making money as a writer, getting paid writing gigs, like, where would I put my focus? because I'm great at writing and I enjoy writing a lot. And I know I can make some decent money while writing. And perhaps writing can at least afford me to live a more nomadic life because the pay is better. Um, you know, today's my first day at Chili's and I'm grateful. I'm so grateful I have a job. I'm working minimum wage and I'm okay with that because I wasn't making anything. And at the same time, I'm 28 years old. I've traveled the world. Well, more specifically, I've traveled Europe and traveled around the US. I've done things that are bigger than what I imagined that I would do. And especially coming from where I came from, I'm worth more than minimum wage. I'm worth more than minimum wage. So I plan on reaching out to him, asking him for advice, writing here, getting more clarity on what it is that I want, and answering questions, uploading on YouTube. And then I have my first shift today at Chili's. There's a stand up special on Netflix. It's by a guy named Jeff Garlin. Jeff Garlin is basically the number two character in the show Curb Your Enthusiasm. And it's a good stand up special. I like it because Jeff mentioned that he never really had a comedy act. He just went up usually most of his career and just had fun on stage. But he said something along the lines of, I'll give the example because I don't remember exactly like the example he gave, but I'll deliver the message here and how I interpreted it. He said, Don't do what you love, do what you're good at." He said, if you love to, I'll take me for example, if I love to write, but let's say but I'm great at math. He said, go get a career where you can utilize what you're great at. So go into accounting, become an accountant, and from there, write for fun, write on the side. And I think he said something like, you'll be happier and your family would appreciate it a lot more. And one thing I'm great at is writing stories or telling stories. And it's a creative thing. So it's like, how can I use that skill to be able to make me money while I write my books or do my YouTube stuff? How can I leverage what I'm good at to make me money so I can do other things that I really care about? So that's what I'm thinking about today. The word that I've been thinking about for the last 2 weeks is the word leverage. And I feel like I'm limited by my own experience and I need outside help, but I didn't even know what to ask for help for. And there's also just the scariness of like asking for help, just the humility. But I'm definitely gonna ask my friend about getting started with making money as a writer. So that's where I'm at today so far. I'm feeling stress in my body. I am going to drink me a green smoothie. Athletic Greens is not a sponsor of the show, but I do use Athletic Greens for my health. If you do want to be a sponsor, I'm happy. That'd be great. I could use the money. I believe in the product. And then I'm going to do some yoga. And then I'm going to go to my vasectomy consultation. Okay, so I just finished my thinking time. You can check out my previous video, the one right before this, to join in if you have some things that you really need some clarity on, you have some questions that you would like to have answered. It's such a good session, and we can just work side by side together, and it's just a little collaborative thing. We work on it at the same time. So here is what I gathered from my thinking time. So I had a list of maybe 4 or 5 questions that I wanted to write or address and answer over the course of 45 minutes, handwritten in my notebook. But I only got to 3 of them, but I spent maybe 2/3 of the time answering one question. And the question that I was answering was, what do I really want from my book? And the thing is, like, that's constantly changing. But I felt like I wanted something very, like, when I asked the questions that I wanted answers to, and when I wrote down those questions, I felt like I had a general idea in terms of what the answers would be. But I'll tell you what, I was actually really surprised. So, with what do I really want from my book, the first thing I wrote was, I just want one person to collaborate with. Somebody who compliments me and I compliment them really well. They can't help but be who it is they are. They've done something that's very meaningful to them. They've built their self-esteem over time. I really respect how they think, and they also really respect how I think. They ask me a ton of questions because they value what I have to say, and we get lost in conversation over the course of many hours. And it's basically somebody who is creative in their own way, and they're going to be successful whether or not I'm in their life or not. However, us being in each other's lives really takes each other to levels far beyond what we would have been able to do by ourselves. And it's really easy for us to hang out together. They are single with no kids. And yeah, that's pretty much the big one, right? Because I was thinking, like, I wanted my book to get me on podcasts, all this kind of shit, which I still do, right? But, like, what do I really want? I really want somebody, one person who I can just fucking go to the moon with. Someone who it's like, dude, creatively, we fucking sharpen each other like a motherfucker. So that was really awesome. That was really, really fucking awesome. So then the next question that I asked, that I wanted answers to, is what discipline must I adopt in order to achieve the outcomes that I want? And because I got clear on what I really wanted, this answer was different than what I initially thought I was gonna answer. And I said, ask. Ask. Like a motherfucker. Ask for help as much as I fucking possibly can. Ask for intros. Ask if people that I know the person that I'm looking for. Ask for help. Ask for advice. Ask for
opportunities, asked to get on podcasts, asked just how can I ask as much as I possibly can, ask people to jump on the phone, ask for whatever it is. Because the last 2 videos that I posted on YouTube, or before the, I posted a couple videos recently of me talking about loneliness and how I'm feeling lonely. And the truth is, like, I've been like really terrified to like reach out to people that I know. And I've been thinking a lot about the word leverage. And what I've been doing is I've been leveraging social media, which I think is good. However, more than that, or not say more than that, I didn't spend the last 5 years of my life building a social media following. I spent the last 5 years of my life building a network, building this asset that allows me to expand in this way, like in a relationship way. And I reached out to a friend of mine recently, like 2 days ago, or last night actually. I was like, hey, let's hop on the phone. Let's talk. I don't know where it's gonna go, but let's just talk. And she's like, yeah, let's do it. So we're gonna talk tomorrow, and yeah, I want to do that a lot more. I want to talk to more of my friends. And speaking of asking if they would be okay with me filming them, or filming the conversation, or recording the conversation, documenting it, posting it online. So that was really cool. And it's just like, be humble enough to ask, right? I'm not going to get to where I want to go by myself. That's a given. Because if I was going to get to where I'm going to go by myself, I would have done it already. And it'll take me far longer to get where I'm going to go by myself than if I lean on other people. And dude, let me tell you something, man. I have some really fucking intelligent friends that I've built relationships with over the last several years that would be happy to hop on the phone with me and talk things through. Not even necessarily about the book, but just like as a homie. Like we're 2 friends who are like really intelligent, and we've both worked on ourselves tremendously. Let's just talk. Why do we need to have it to be like a very specific kind of thing? We schedule it in the calendar. I guess we can, right? Because they're busy, we're busy. We got to make sure that we have, the time to do it. But I do like phone calls more than Zoom calls, only because phone calls are a lot more personal. Let me see. Okay, my microphone. All right. Because phone calls are a lot more personal. And also when I'm on Zoom, I get like so self-conscious because only thing I can think of is like, how do I look? And I'm just like looking at myself all the time, and it's a distraction. When I'm on the phone, I can do whatever it is that I want. I can move, but like it helps me. Actually, being on the phone helps me focus a lot more than being on Zoom. And then the last question that I asked myself that I had time for is, in the next 100 days, what must I do less of in order to open up space for things that I want to do more of? And that just came down to spending less time with people who don't understand me, spending way less time with people who I have to justify myself to, and I'm trying to make myself be understood by certain people. So it all boiled down to people. And then when I'm thinking about like my network and all this kind of stuff, and asking and what do I want from my book and leveraging my relationships, what began to happen was like I started to think differently. Like, oh, okay, like, wait a second, there's potentially other creative communities out there that probably exist that I don't know about. I don't say probably, there, like, for sure there is. Like, for writers, comedy writers, people who write honestly, people who write for fun, or, you know, I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. Like, the possibilities here are limitless. So, yeah, because, dude, let me tell you something. I had one relationship, a really good friend of mine, and she and I had did some amazing things together. Amazing things. And we wouldn't have been able to do them without each other. I wouldn't have been able to go to the first royal ball in the Palace of Versailles since the French Revolution without her. And she wouldn't have got in without me. We wouldn't have got in without each other. There's so many adventures. We wouldn't have, you know, I wouldn't have met my $50 million mentor. I wouldn't have gone to certain 7 to 9 figure, you know, business owner conferences without this one person. This one person made all the difference and helped open up so many doors for me because of just who they were, and just naturally through conversation and collaborating, we were able to do things bigger than either of us could have possibly imagined. So it's like, okay, let me have more conversations with this person. Let me have more conversations with another person I have in mind as well, who's also like really fucking smart and intelligent. And we'll just take it from there. And in the meantime, I'm just going ham on YouTube, writing my second book, having conversation. I'm about to go to work right now so I can make this money, so I'm not fucking stressed to the fucking gills about, you know, my own freedoms and what I'm able to do. And you know, like yesterday, I had bought a ticket to go see the comedian Dave Attell. He was nearby, and I couldn't even afford to go last night. And yeah, I know I made some financially, you know, stupid decisions in the past that had I not made those decisions, I would have been able to go. However, it would also be really nice to have some kind of consistent income coming in, so that wouldn't have mattered anyway, you know? Anyway, what can I say, man? I like the direction my life is going. I have so much more action to take. So much more action to take, and I'm excited about it. I love the action that I'm taking. I love the clarity that I have. And if you're feeling how I felt in terms of like you need some clarity or you need some help or whatever it is, go watch that video that I posted about thinking time and just write with me. Come up with your own questions if you have to. I put the questions on the video so you can answer the same questions that, you know, I had intended to answer, but it would be ridiculous for me to assume that you and I are in the same place and we have similar questions that we would like to get addressed. So, you know, it might take some time for you, maybe take 10 minutes, 15 minutes to come up with, you know, a couple questions that you feel like will be beneficial to you, or look up some questions on the internet to help you get clarity, or, you know, just Google business questions, or, you know, to ask to help me grow my business, or questions to help me gain clarity, or I don't know, just use your imagination and find maybe 3 to 5 questions that you feel that you can go deep in over the course of 45 minutes and write, and see what comes from it. So I'm very happy about the session that I had today, and here's to more. Hope you enjoyed this video. I almost forgot about earlier in this video, I had mentioned that
I'm gonna reach out to like a friend tour, sort of. I guess more of like a friend than a mentor, who's written 3 books and has gotten signed to two big picture deals and is working when it comes to writing. And me reaching out to him and asking him for feedback in terms of like where can I get my start, because I would rather not work minimum wage jobs for the next several years. I am worth way more than minimum wage. But I'm happy to do this right now because I don't know how else to leverage my skills to produce money for me. Like the part of my brain that comes with like creating financial opportunities is still under development. It's something that I am still working on getting better at. So I reached out to him and he said he's going to give it some thought. And I said, my greatest skill is my ability to tell stories verbally and written. I'm just unsure how to leverage it to create financial opportunities for myself. He said, man, it's all in practice and development. I don't know what the fuck that means. But I do have 2 other mentors. I have one who loves me tremendously, and he's a creative himself. So I'll ask him as well. And then I have another mentor of mine who is extremely successful. I mean, beyond successful. I mean, oh my goodness. And I'm going to ask him as well. And I know that he really likes me. He may or may not help me out. I don't know. He's a very busy guy. But I'm going to reach out to him. And he also had said something to somebody else who I know, a mutual friend of mine, and it connects to the first question that I answered, which is what do I want from my book, which is like a collaboration partner. In a sense, I guess you can say it's like a creative business partner, because I want to create things with somebody else. And for me, that's just fun, man. I like it a lot more, and they open up more opportunities. And this mentor, he said that he would never go into business without a partner. He went into business with 3 of his best friends. And this person has been written about in books. I read about this person in 2 books before I ever had a conversation with them, and he was like the main mentor in one of the books. And so yeah, we'll see. I'm going into work within the next 15 minutes, so I want to be able to have like space open to be able to ask, like to be able to have a conversation back and forth, because I don't want to ask a question of a mentor and then not be in a position where I'm able to reply and answer their questions. I want to be respectful of their time. And tomorrow's Easter. I may or may not ask them on Easter. I'm sure they're going to be busy with family, so I may ask on Monday. So, because tomorrow's Easter. Huh. I would like to do this as soon as possible. However, sometimes I guess it does pay to wait. And sometimes things kind of work themselves out on their own. But yeah, I definitely just want to be very respectful of my mentor's times. So, anyway, I like how I'm already applying something from my thinking time in terms of asking for help. And the mentor of mine who went into business with his 3 friends, he intimidates me because he's so unbelievably honest, man. I remember the first time we had a phone call, I had to process that phone call over like the next 2 or 3 days or something like that. It was like, oh my gosh, he spoke to me in a way that no one ever spoke to me. You know how with imposter syndrome, people are afraid of being found out? Well, in that conversation, I felt like I got found out. I felt like he saw right through me. I felt butt fucking naked. And I just felt like, oh my gosh, he saw right fucking through me, and that's not. It wasn't a pleasant feeling whatsoever. Because usually I'm able to keep people at bay, you know, able to like give people enough information without like being fully vulnerable. But he got to the fucking core very fast, very very fast. So, but you know, he's hopped on a couple calls with me, and he's given me some really good advice. And he thinks so much differently than me. I remember one time I was thinking about going into bartending and become a bartender so I can pay off my debts and stuff. And he had said, instead of becoming a bartender, why don't I just own a bar? And I'm like, well, dude, I don't have like much money. Like, I don't know how I would even like purchase a bar. How would I even do that? And he goes, I was like, I don't think I can do that. He's like, it's because you live in the Matrix. Or he's like, it's because you're in the Matrix. I'm like, fuck, bro. Like, that's like the coldest line to ever tell like an entrepreneur. Like, you're not thinking. And then he asked me like the question right after he said that. He said, do you consider yourself a creative person? I'm like, yeah, I think so. Yeah, that was. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, whew, you kind of have to brace yourself, because you're like, this motherfucker's gonna give it to you straight. But yo, like, that's what the fuck you want, right? That's how you want it. We all want honesty, and when we get it, it's like, this is so emotionally dense. I gotta process some shit. I gotta go into a fucking cave for 3 days to fucking make sense of the fact that I know fucking nothing, and I have to think completely different, but I appreciate it in the long run, you know? I appreciate it tremendously. So I'm excited to ask for help. I am excited to ask for help.